Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you by ShortTrackExclusives.com. I'm your host, Thomas Battis, alongside two other short track guys in the studio, as always. Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07, Can'tQuitFishing.com sportsman, and 2021 Sportsman Champion, locally here at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, and Ted Baber Video Productions, also locally here at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. What's up, guys?
I'm just out here looking for the animals starting to line up 2 by 2 because as much rain as we've had here, oh my Lord, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to trade my truck in for a boat.
Or a kayak or
something. Should we start building an ark, gentlemen?
I want about 70 cubits by 2 cubits.
Yeah, I'm hoping and praying that we get in Friday night because that's going to suck if we don't get to race.
And that's something I wanted to inquire about. All these dirt tracks, can they eventually get to the point that they get so soaked they can't get the track back, or what?
Pretty much. If it rains pretty hard the day before, they have to rework the track. They're pretty much done because you can't get that moisture out
right
without some sun. And and if you try to run, it becomes a muddy mess. Yep. You have holes everywhere. Cars are flipping over and breaking parts, and it's not much fun.
No.
That comes up this weekend, right? With the Alan Turner number 3, the Sportsman, Pro Trucks, and Pure Stocks going out there. And Jim's been hard at work at at the shop trying to get his car ready from a bounce back, possibly from the last time you were out there.
Yeah, it got a little beat up, just some damage, knocked my front bumper loose and killed the body a little. So I had to take the body off, beat it back straight, and bent a spindle. We changed that. And thank you to Ben and Martin last night for spending the time with me to reset the toe on that car. I was starting to get frustrated. I couldn't get it right. And Ben jumped in there and Martin jumped in there and we got it right. So it's ready to go on the trailer. Set on kill, I hope. It was running really good before I got into it with a couple of cars. Flat spotted my tires, cut one tire down, and then bent a spindle. So, she was pushing like a dump truck for most of the race. But we made an adjustment, and I think we went in the right direction. So I'm looking forward to it if we can race Friday night, because the thing is, Saturday I'm getting to go to Daytona. To the Coke 0400 and actually get to walk across the stage and be introduced as the track champion from Five Flag Speedway, which is really super cool.
Wow.
I get to go to a suite. I get to do all that good, cool stuff and get to watch the Coke 0400. Thank you to Tim Bright of Five Flag Speedway and the people that presented that program. It's going to be really cool. The only thing sucks is if we rain out Friday night and he wants to run on Saturday, I'm going to Daytona. I'm sorry, y'all. I tell my sponsors I apologize, but we'll get the car ready for the last race and we'll go win it. But hopefully we'll get it in, and this weather will hold off tomorrow, Friday night, and we'll get some racing in. But car's ready. I was aggravated about that last race, but I got all that out of my system now. We need to strap in and get some new business taken care of.
Yeah, and Ted, I imagine that video equipment doesn't hold up that well in this type of weather either.
No, actually, one year when the Derby was run on Tuesday, I had the camera in the car 3 days with all that rain. It was in Grant Enfinger's car. It was just, I was like, well, okay, is it even going to work when I push the buttons, or is it just going to go up in smoke?
Well, I tell you another problem that I have is when the car gets wet is my wiring harness for my radios. Sometimes I can push my push to talk doesn't work, or it's real faint. I can't hardly hear Frank.
Right.
Which reminds me, tomorrow night I need to pull my car harness out just in case it's rainy, so it don't get wet. Because if that thing gets wet or gets moisture in it, I have a hard time listening on the radio.
Yeah, and you need that communication all the time.
Yeah, it was one time I could hear Frank, but he couldn't hear me, and I told somebody, run down there and tell my crew that I can hear Frank. And Martin comes over and he goes, he can't hear you. And I'm like, no, that's not what I said. I'm just freaking out because, without him, I'm in trouble because I don't run an extra mirror. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, we can throw something out there to our listeners that may know what we're talking about, most likely, but maybe some that are new, that are unfamiliar about how that communication happens, particularly in your class and the sportsman with the spotter and the driver. How does that communication start, and then through the middle in the race, and then how does it end, and how does that all work out in your class?
Well, my spotter's name is Frank Utze. He's been with me racing pretty much since 97, and he's been my spotter for quite a few years. Dave Redden was, and then Frank took over. Usually what happens is I'll get in the car, put my earpieces in. Martin will have a headset, my crew chief, and we'll do a radio check. He'll be like, "Hey man, can you hear me? I can hear you. Okay." We back and forth. And then about that time, I'll hear Frank go, "Hey man, what's up, fellas?" He's up in the grandstands. He don't come in the pits with us anymore. He lost his interest in working on the car, but he loves the spot. So I let him do what he's got to do. And he had a stroke a while back and he's recovered from it. Still does me a great job. But we'll talk like, okay, who are we starting around? Okay, well, I'm starting on the outside. I need you to get me to the bottom as quickly as possible because I don't run a middle mirror, so I can't see anybody outside of me or behind me. All I know is I got the one mirror in the door, and then somebody says inside, I look. Outside, I look. So, but he's just, inside, outside, bumper, clear, looking. He just communicates with me, lets me know what I'm seeing around me. Wrecking 4, cautions out. Just tidbits of information. Cars, you're clear by 1, like 1 car length away from the guy behind you, or he gained on you that lap, hit your marks, things like that. He keeps me pumped up.
And or calmed down, depending on what situation.
He has a hard time with that one. Dave Redden was the best at keeping me calm. Frank just gets quiet when I get angry. When I'm on the radio going, right. He just listens.
And Ted with the video productions and all like this whole thing together, it's kind of like a ring. Do you have a plan going into it when you get up top to know where to put your cameras and what you're doing, even though you might not have a radio?
Well, the cameras are static. They're set in one location all the time, but it's the fun part is trying to, especially when you get into a big race, like the super late and the pro lates, trying to remember who you shot, who you hasn't. And if you get, I can almost calculate how long it's going to take before they get into lap traffic. That's when it gets interesting because the cars just start blending together after a while. Now, the Donnie Wilson cars, we'll get back to him just in a little bit. I can always tell where they are because they have a very unique exhaust sound. And you take advantage of situations like this and try to remember. If they're leading, no problem. You just wait for them to go by. You can be anywhere on the track and you can go with that unique noise and they go by. You know who that is.
Yeah, I wonder if the drivers hear that too.
I'm sure they do. It's not hard to miss with those cars. They sound like an angry bumblebee.
Yeah, they usually hear it from behind him because he is kicking their backsides right now.
Oh, the Donnie Wilson Motorsports team. Yeah, we've got some big news coming up here just in a little bit around the corner. Ted's going to have a big list about that. We'll get into that Donnie Wilson because it's not only just a follow-up, but it's some big news within that stable, too, that we're going to get to in just a second. But going back to this weekend, the Alan Turner race, we're looking at points, and Hunter Robbins and that Ronnie Sanders crew is just like...
Yeah, they're on fire.
Yeah, and not just to Alan Turner, but, now he's taking over the points in
the Southern Super
Series.
So. Exactly.
I mean, Bubba still got the Blizzard Series because they hadn't run the Blizzard Series, but, Bubba had a bad finish at Cordele and fell to second and behind by quite a bit now, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But I've seen several people sweep. Casey Roderick, I think, swept both Pro and Super in the past before and won the Blizzard Series, so that's pretty good. I mean,
it's impossible.
No, it's not. It's cool. Like see people like Casey and Bubba and what's that kid in the 35 car?
Jake Garcia.
Jake Garcia came to our awards banquet.
Right.
Yep.
I like that. I mean, don't blow us off just because we're Five Flag Speedway. Show up to the awards banquet, and I encourage all drivers, go to your awards banquet, even if you didn't get anything that year. Show up, support your awards banquet because the promoter doesn't have to do that. He can do this on the front straightaway one night after a race and go, "Here's your trophy, here's your jacket, have a nice day." They at least try to do something nice for us, at least support it.
Right.
Everybody. If you're a fan, get tickets to the awards banquet. If you're a driver, get tickets to the awards banquet. Come over and support everybody.
Yeah. It's vitally important.
I mean,
it shows the promoters that you enjoy what's going on there,
Was we didn't have one in 97 when I raced at Five Flags. When Tim took over, finally actually having a awards banquet, and that was kind of nice. It is. It's nice to go sit and get free beer and something to eat, and it's $20 to sit in there. But so what? Go support your local track.
Yeah, that's the Donnie Wilson Motorsports program that's been pretty much taking checker flags everywhere that they arrive. And we're talking about the Georgia Southern Nationals up there at Crisp Motorsports Park
in Cordele, Georgia.
Yes, we're going to get that right. And there's a new driver there for the Donnie Wilson Motorsports / Toyota team, Corey Heim, in the 24 car that we all know that there have been several big-time drivers in that car that won races. Well, Corey Heim is just one of the others.
Collection.
Yep.
Just another one in the dynasty.
Yeah, no kidding. They're kicking butt this year.
Yeah, Corey Heim, Hunter Robbins, Stephen Nassy, Michael Atwell, and Jake Garcia rounds out the top 5. But, man, there was a good field up there, and it was some great racing, though, regardless what happened.
Yeah, I just, super late model racing is getting to where it's so expensive. It's just hard for people to do. But the race up there was really awesome. They put on a good show, but you can't beat them Donnie Wilson cars right now. They for some reason, and it's cut money. I guarantee they got simulators now. They can actually put the car on a. Yeah. They probably take it up to Hendrick Motorsports and put it on one of their simulators, and it moves around. And it gives them the setup to run, and I mean, they've just got it going on right now.
You really think it gets that serious?
I think so. When you got William Byron driving one of your cars, you don't think William Byron doesn't have a little bit of pull and getting stuff like that?
Drag a little cash in there.
Plus, I mean, they're basically Hamke house cars too, and Hamke is Kyle Busch. So yeah. I don't understand that at all. It's crazy.
It's just, we've had this discussion before about, is all that money coming in, is it going to ruin the sport or ruin this segment of the sport? Or
it's going to eventually hurt it because small teams are going to quit. I mean, we've already had Kyle Plotton walk away. What happens when teams like Bubba Pollard and them know they can't win? I'll go race dirt late models.
And that's Plot specifically specified that it was the R&D and the all the technology that they were falling behind on. And
you don't think that they don't get aero help and everything else?
No.
You know what I mean? I mean, anything helps, and if you can gain a 1/100th of a second, you're gonna outrun people. It's just the way it is.
Just think about qualifying at the Derby. It comes down to just split seconds.
Yep.
They will or they won't make the race.
And it doesn't matter who's driving those Wilson cars. Corey Heim.
No.
William Byron, Swallowich, Swallowich, he kicks their butt. I mean, it's just
the Minnesota Missile.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, but I mean, that's super late model race right now. The Southern Super Series is very competitive, and I'm pulling for Bubba Pollard or our local boy Hunter Robbins. I'd like to see either one of them win a championship. Of course, I'm a huge Bubba Pollard fan, but how that goes.
Well, I mean, it's gotten very tight in the standings now, but. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens.
Yep. Going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, and that's the Southern Super Series, and the points leader now is Hunter Robbins from that Ronnie Sanders stable. It's been really consistent. He's won some big races, and he's 19 points ahead of Bubba Pollard and 41 points in front of Stephen Nassy from Pinellas Park, Florida, which he's one of those guys we've talked about quite a bit that travels from Pinellas Park, which is down in South Florida. He goes pretty much all across the country, not really so much the West Coast, but he's hitting all these big races. But that's the Southern Super Series race, and man, I'm telling you what, Donnie Wilson is coming up in what Ted's got on his itinerary with this Oxford 250 coming up this weekend in Maine.
Yeah, that is, the entry list is absolutely massive. We're looking at close to 80 entries, and it's just people from all over the countryside. We would not have time to go through the entirety of the list. I'm sorry, I apologize to the people that I missed, but we'll just start with the 00. Jamie Wharf, Jimmy Renfrew Jr., Kyle D'Souza, Evan Hallstrom, Nick Cusack, Travis Bazell, Steve Murphy. Some guy in the number 4 is called TBD. Oh, no, I know that. Just kidding. I'm just playing around there. I got to try this name. Every time I see it, I at least got to give it a try. The 4NH is Joey Polararchik Jr. I hope I got that right. It's a tough one. Travis Benjamin, Shane Tatro, Derek Griffin in the number 12G. We talk about him quite a bit on regular occasions because he's a regular campaigner in this area. No doubt. Cassius Clark, Scott McDaniel, Anthony Costantino, Eddie McDonald, Justin Larson. I don't think there's any relation to that other Larson guy that we talk about every once in a while. Joe Pastore, Joey Dalton, Dave Farrington, Ben Rowe. That's an interesting story there. He's listed as a number 24 car, but we have seen video of the redesign on that car, wrap, and it is awesome. It's a number 5, a throwback to I believe it's his father's car, his father's number.
Mike Rowe.
Yeah. It's just amazing. It is a beautiful car, too. I got to give him major compliments on that. Oh, this next guy in the line, we hear about him every once in a while. Somebody at that Bubba guy, Bubba Pollard, one of our favorite dudes. Ryan Littlefield, Trevor Sanborn, Ryan Robbins, Tracy Gordon. Like I say, these are just some of the entries. It is massive. You need to go online and look at all of them. Johnny Clark, we talk about him pretty regularly. Cole Butcher, T.J. Brackett, Kyle Salome, Gary Drew, Scott Robbins, Adam Polvinen, Dan Winter, Kevin Casper, and Garrett Hall. And that is not even... That just barely scrapes the surface of the entries that are coming. But
yeah, didn't you say they were up to like almost 80 entries now for this
80.
race?
It is that's like 79. I mean, that was this was as of August 15th.
Yeah, and it's $30,000 to win too, and this is a big one. And our Bubba Pollard has won this.
Yes.
Before, and he's up there again.
Well, see, that race is also used to be like that back in the 80s. There was 80 to 100 cars. So Bobby Allison, Donnie Allison, Davey Allison. All of them ran the Oxford 250. That's when they ran like Bush-looking cars. They still had steel bodies on them. Robbie Crouch, just to name a few. Randy LaJoy. All these guys would show up and run the Oxford 250. It was always a big show for everybody across the country.
Yeah, it's huge.
Very, very. It's a snowball derby size type race. You know what I mean? It's prestigious when you have the Oxford 250. That's like saying you got a snowball derby.
Well, it says a lot being at the 49th annual, too. So it's not a race that has been around for 2 or 3, 4, 5, 10 years.
No.
49. This is 49 years in a row. A lot of those historic guys throughout the series have participated in this big event.
Yep. Harry Gant even went up there and ran it.
Wow.
You know, guys like Chuck Bound, Jack Ingram. Those guys would run it regularly because it paid good. And if they could win it, it was good money for them and prestige.
Yeah, it's going to be a great race. We're going to catch up on all the results next Wednesday, too, with this. This race doesn't happen until this weekend, but it's a big one. The Oxford 250 in Maine. Got all our favorites in it, plus some.
And so many more.
Yeah, and that Oxford 250 coming up this weekend has got a Trevor Sanborn. You know, may not be one of the flashiest drivers in the state of Maine, but he's a native there. You know, he's put himself into the mix lately in the super late model races. But, you know, a Triple Crown winner of these races in the past, and he's going back there to kind of put his best effort forward, and we wish him luck. And we were just going to give a start out for Trevor Sanborn and going up there in that 29 machine and wish him the best against this field.
Absolutely.
He's going up against a stacked field for sure.
Yeah,
he's going to have a road ahead of him, but he's won races before. He can do it again, I'm sure.
Right. He's been quoted as saying we've had a really good car in the last 5 or 6 weeks between 100 lappers and the last past race. I'm assuming that's the past North race. Something electrical and wiring, and we've all gone through that with Christian Rose and all the other guys that have the equipment. They've got the stable to make efforts to, you know, run up front, but they've had that mechanical issue and something out of their control, and something here went wrong, and you know they tried to fix it. Didn't seem to go the way they thought it would, but some good news: the work is already done. There's no rush to get back on the track, so they've kind of taken things back into their own stable, saying, let's just take another step back. We'll fix it and go back to the next race and try to advance. So sometimes you have to take a couple steps back to move forward.
Right.
Well, it takes a couple steps forward to a couple steps back to go forward. You know, you sometimes got to slow down to go fast. It's just things happen. Sometimes you're rushing through stuff and you miss things.
Right.
You know,
it can happen.
There's nothing wrong with taking the body back off that car and go through the entire wiring harness. I had one that was missing one time, and it was a dadgum toggle switch. Couldn't tell it nothing. It was just arcing just enough to cause the car to stumble. And I finally went through everything I could think of, and I said, well, this is an old switch. It got wet. Let me replace the switch, and the mist went away.
All right.
Electrical problems are so hard to find anyway. You just
especially on a race car. It'll make you pull your hair out.
Yeah, well, good luck to him this weekend. And got another one really from Centerville, Tennessee. Actually, he's from Lebanon. But it's Dawson Sutton. He's going to come down here at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola and have his first Prolate model start on Friday night. And that's pretty good to have some sort of pedigree, which we've talked about before with youth and experience and pedigree. And this all accumulates to what we're talking about with these guys coming in here for their first time. And, I mean, yeah, granted, it's the third race of the Alan Turner Prolate model, but he's making his first start, so why not welcome him into our family?
It's a tune-up for the snowflake that's coming up. You got to get some kind of practice, or at least get familiar with the track before you just jump out there and try to make the snowflake, because it's tough.
That old girl's rough, and she's hard to learn, and you got to run on it. You got to learn how to save your tires. You got to learn how, because that track will eat up a set of tires quick.
Yes.
So even in a pro car, so it's good for him to be here, and I hope he learns a lot, and who knows, you might get him a good finish. You never can tell. Some people take the old Five Flags like a duck to water.
Right.
Well, that Rackley War driver development program's got some good stuff, and they've got talent behind the wheel. So we wouldn't expect anything less from Dawson Sutton this weekend at Five Flag Speedway. And if you're listening, Dawson, and your friends and family, welcome to Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola.
Amen.
Guys, I don't know what to say other than, we've kind of wrapped up a shorter week. We'll get more to Wednesday nights with this coming weekend, Friday night, with Jim Sportsman, and go out and get after that win. We'll talk to you guys next week. And anything else before we sign off?
I think it's just one
more
thing we got.
I want to discuss something real quick. Just a little add on here. We were talking about lapped cars earlier, and we saw that crash with Buddy Kofoid at Springfield.
Yes, that's awful.
That was terrible. And the thing about it is, what was that guy doing driving that slow up
that
on the high
high
side?
On the track?
Yeah, and if you slow down that much, this is the thing for drivers. When you go out on a racetrack, first thing you need to do is find the flagman.
Yes.
Know where he's at, know what he's doing. Look for all the lights around the racetrack. I tell rookies this. First thing on the racetrack, notice where the lights are so you know when the caution's out. Notice that flagman. Because your first race or two, you're going to get lapped. You're going to see that that blue flag with a yellow stripe. It means move over.
Right.
My personal in getting out of the way is get to the bottom and stay down there. And listen to your spotter. If you don't have a spotter, use your mirrors.
Absolutely.
When that man gives you that flag, the leaders are coming. Get to the bottom. You don't have to stop.
No.
You don't have to slow down to an uncompetitive speed, but don't get in the way of the lead, because you can actually cost a man a race or a race car or get somebody hurt, like what could have happened in that situation.
Well, I saw another dirt track a couple of weeks ago where they were coming to the checkered flag, and there was a car almost in the exact same position, and it almost cost the race, because he had to dive down under the car to come across the finish line, and he had somebody's coming in hot behind him.
Yeah, you just got to pay attention. Rookie drivers, young drivers, when you're out there, pay attention to that flagman. When he gives you that move over flag, that means the leaders are coming. I mean, start looking, pay attention, but don't do anything stupid. Don't snatch car to right, snatch car to left. Be smooth, because I'm going to tell you something. When the leaders are coming up on you, they're watching you.
Yeah.
When I'm leading a race and I see a lapped car, my spotter says, you got a lapped car coming up, you should be on the bottom when you get there. I don't know that. I'm watching that guy.
Right.
And
I don't believe a lot of those dirt drivers and classes have radios. They might have a mirror or so, but I don't think they have mirrors. I don't think they have radios.
But even without mirrors, you're sideways. So you can look over that's what most dirt guys do, look over their shoulder. You know the leaders are coming. When that flagman gives you that flag, that means the leaders are coming. Whether you're dirt, asphalt, mirrors, no radio, get your butt to the bottom and get out of the way. Now, some tracks tell you to go to the high side. We'll do whatever the track officials tell you, but my personal preference is get on the bottom. Right. And don't race me. If I'm the leader and I come up beside you, don't all of a sudden decide you're going to race me up off the corner and cost me the win, because I'm not going to be very happy with you. And the next time I come up on you, I'm liable to dump you. That's another thing that's happened to a lot of guys that lap cars get away. They get dumped.
Yes.
Don't get angry. If you're in the middle of the damn racetrack and you cause a man's leading the race and he comes up on you, don't get out of the way, you're liable to get dumped.
Some guys use the 3-knock rule.
Yeah. And one, I'm here, 2 means get out of the way, and 3, well, after you feel the third one, you're going to go for a ride. But I mean, it's something that's very important to learn as a rookie driver. Know where the flagman is, know where the lights are, and pay attention to the flagman. When he gives you the flag, find it, get to the bottom, get out of the way. Don't, like I said, don't stop.
That's what they have drivers meetings for, so you know all this before you
Yes, but a lot of guys don't pay attention to the drivers meeting. They don't bring this up every week. But get to the bottom, get out of the way, and don't stop, because then you're going to hold everybody else up. But just get down there. And here's something else too. If you know the guy behind you can see you, raise your hand, point him to the outside. Say, go outside, I'm going to stay on the bottom. Or if you want him to go below you, reach out your window and point to the bottom. That lets the driver know what you're going to do. Yes. Because if you do something stupid, you could stack up the whole field, and then you lose respect. The way to gain respect to these guys and to get somebody to notice you and help you, because I've helped people that have been getting lapped. Ask Ben Cranford. He was slow as Christmas till I started helping him. And learn that stuff. Because if you don't, you're going to cause a wreck, and then you're going to lose all respect to the drivers, and then you're never going to get anywhere.
Right.
Just that's the way I look at it. I'll help you anyway. I'll help anybody. Ask Thomas. See, I helped them. And, learn. As long as you're on the racetrack, you're a rookie. Learn. Just don't do anything silly to cause a problem.
Absolutely.
I'm done with my rant, but I'm just saying. And,
Soapbox over?
yeah. And, congratulations to all the young drivers coming up, man. Keep your eyes on the prize.
And keep your eyes on the flagman, too.
Yeah, well, look at the flag. I mean, just pay attention. That's all you can do is look around. You know what's going on, and don't stare straight ahead, because that's another thing. That focusing on the hood pins. You got to look past the hood pins. So
look beyond the hood pins. That's what we're going to try to do right now.
Yes.
Yep.
Look beyond the hood pins. Get ready for next Wednesday night. And we do appreciate all the listeners, all the support. It is our motivation, as you've heard before. A lot of these segments that we come up with, little quotes and little memes, if you will, they come and go. We think of this stuff as we go along, and we try to bring as much to you as we can within the time. But hey, it's always a pleasure to get with these guys that are always in the studio. If they're not, they're always in the studio. In my mind, whether remotely on the phone or if they're here physically, it's all the same. So guys, I guess until we get to the results from next Wednesday, there's really only one thing that we started some time ago that we have to continue now.
at least for a couple more years.
Yes.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Let's go, Brandon. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening.